Day two of Manali, we were planning to go to Kulu Kasoli and Manikarna. All three of them are very famous places. So we started at around 10 o'clock from our hotel after we had an elaborate sort of breakfast. We were really full. So after that, we started. As you can see, the we could still see a lot of snow on the road, and Manikarna is around 80 kilometers away from Manali. Kulu is in between, I think around 40 kilometers away from Manali. And yeah, so this is where we Kulu, the village of Kulu starts. It's dotted with beautiful small houses. Right up to the mountain, we could see small, tiny houses, very colorful roofs, and yeah, it was very beautiful to look at. There was no snow from there. Um, yeah, and this was the Bias River again. Um, All right, now this is where we are going towards Manikarna. The whole um, flora sort of changes, as you go from one place to another. It's from the snow-clad mountains to the dry mountains to this was a pretty green stretch of land, which we were told was there was a wildlife sanctuary here. So that is what it was, and this we are almost reaching Manikarna right now. So Manikarna is basically famous for three or four things, I'd say. One is of course the Gurudwara, and then there is the Parvati River, and there's a hot spring which is right next to the river, and there is also Shiva temple. There is also a Sri Rama temple. So this is how where the entrance of the Gurudwara per se is. Alright, the history behind this is that Guru Nanak Ji, it is believed that Guru Nanak Ji came with his disciples to this place, and since they didn't have anything to cook, they went around asking for food, for raw material, and then when they came back and they started cooking, they didn't have any chula or whatever. So then he lifted a rock, and from there the hot spring came, and so they were able to cook and eat. So that is the story behind Manikaran. Another interesting story is that Shiva and Parvati, they came here and meditated for quite a long time, and one day Parvati's earring, the ruby earring, fell into the water and she was not able to get it back. So Shiva asked one of his disciples to go and get it, and he was not able to get it. So Shiva got angry, and he was about to open his third eye, and that is when Sheshnag came, and he hissed and hissed and hissed, and the water started, the hot water started bubbling, and let's say that's when the ruby earring came out, and she was able to wear it again. So that is what is another story. Like any other Gurudwara, this too had a langar, very clean and neat and very calm. It was not crowded at all on that day. It was very calm and peaceful. So we were not sure whether we could shoot, inside the Gurudwara. So we didn't do it inside. But here, langar, they said we can shoot. So that is why, I went ahead and I took this. So we had a very simple meal of rice, dal, chapati, one aloo sabji, and rajma. And there was this hot spring. From the hot spring we could make tea and we could drink. And this is the place where they were storing vegetables and huge utensils that are used to make the langar. This is that place. Yeah, that's where you can see the vegetables and all stored. And here is where was the arrangement for us to wash our plates that we had eaten. It is a very neat place. And this was the first time ever that we had eaten in a langar, and I must say it was a very, very beautiful experience to see how beautifully they were serving. All they told us is to cover our head and we could eat as much as we want. So it was a wonderful experience in Manikaran there. And from the Gurudwara, we could go to the Shiva temple. This is the way to the Shiva temple. You can see many like small shops where we could buy. So that's the Shiva temple there. Here I didn't video shoot inside because I was not very sure whether we could do it, but I just, yeah, this is where the hot spring is. They give you small potlis of rice which we can actually put in that, and you can the rice would cook in that. So that is what they showed here. Yeah, so this was what was Manikaran, and on the way again river Parvati was flowing. So the rugged, huge mountains and the blue sky, the clouds, they somewhat reminded me of Ladakh. For some reason, I think the blue sky had to do with that. And yeah, so we stopped by at a place where we could go and be near the river. So that is where it was. We told the driver to stop at some place where I can go near the river. So this is what it was. So it was a basically happy day for us. So even though we were planning to, they told us there's Kulu Kasoli and Manikaran. Basically, there was nothing in Kasoli. There's just a camp where, I mean, at least we didn't see anything in Kasoli. There's just a camp, and where we didn't get down there in Kasoli. And in Kulu also, per se there's nothing. There was no river rafting or paragliding or a hot air balloon. Nothing was there in Kulu, so we missed out on all that because of the climate. But then what we did was we enjoyed whatever was there. So we stopped at all possible places where we could just enjoy nature, and finally we returned back to our hotel on that day happy and content. Okay, so that was another end of a beautiful journey at Manikarna.